Hey guys, and welcome to Antimatter Chemistry Progression Log 2. I didn't get as much stuff done this week as I would have liked. I did build my favorite area in the base by far, though, of any base ever, I should say. But Helldivers had a sick update, and Doom Dark Ages dropped, and that's been a lot of fun. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with the farm area. I finished this over the week, and oh my god, it looks so good. It's my favorite area in the base, of any base by far. If you take a look on the map, it looks fucking fantastic. I really outdid myself with this one, guys. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but this was really good. This took me several hours to do, but it was totally worth it. It was totally worth it. So first off, just the regular farms are we have carrots, wheat, and beetroots over here. Not too many beetroots. Eventually, we're going to use that for red dye and then turn that into mercury sulfide, which we need for stuff. Over here, we have cactus and sugarcane, and then we have a tree farm. Uh, it does drop a lot of stuff all over the place outside of the range of the accumulators, unfortunately. But I've just kind of lived with it. The stuff that gets dropped really isn't too important. It's a little bit annoying that we lose it, but it's fine in the end. I still have a few more facades I missed over here last night, I guess, so I have to do that as well. But overall, I love this place. It is a subnet as well, so there was gonna be lots of stuff that had to happen over here, and I knew it wasn't gonna be able to doable inside of XNet, like how I set up Stoneworks, for example. So this is a subnet, greennet, but we do have lots of stuff here. We have 1.6 million jungle wood now, which is great since we use a lot of that stuff. Uh, so this has been working out very well. Cactus and carrots get immediately deleted down to 512. It keeps around 5012 before it starts pulling, so in order to level them it. I tried to set that up with sugar canes, but the level emission didn't really work. I have to figure it out why it wasn't working and probably fix it. And fix it. That's something else I'll have to do, but we're fine on sucrose for now, so it's not really a high priority. Um, Anyway, so if we want to talk about, over here we have the dissolver station. This is where we dissolve things like cactus, sugarcane, and carrots. It's also where we do sludge boiling here as well. This has been running all night, and it looks like it's still going. I wonder how much sludge we have still. It looks like it's gone through most of it, but it does take a while. It's very slowly going, barely able to keep up, it looks like. Um, but yeah, so with Sludge Boiler, we also have access to all these other things. I set this up last night for gravel and sand. The clay is a nice output as well, so I don't have to make that from silicon dioxide, as that is still a pretty large bottleneck in Stoneworks. I really haven't done the cobble gens yet. I would have liked to, but there's a bunch of other stuff I have to do first, and it's working for now. So it'll be there for a while until I figure out some other stuff. So the problem is the basic platings from nuclear craft require cadmium now, and cadmium's really obnoxious. The only way you can get it is from lime dye, and that requires. So once I set up a mob farm, it'll be fine. We'll have cactus green from cactus, and then we'll have bone meal from the mob farm, and uh, we'll have lime dye that way. So I'm gonna have to set up a. It looks like I'm gonna have to set up a dye factory a little bit earlier, or a lot earlier than I did in the last AMC playthrough. So, which is fine. It just requires a little bit more setup before we can do that. But I want to talk about like the decorative work over here. Like, look how good this is. I really did a great job with this, and I know this sounds like very arrogant, whatever, but it really looks great. I knew I wanted some water features, as that was really what was missing from the first area, Stoneworks, and then the passive processes over there. As when in the very early creative test world designs, I did include some water features, but that didn't end up being included in the final version. As in the creative test world, I had water pouring from the central the central core. Unfortunately, that was before I had taken out chunks of it for the hand batching areas. So there wasn't really a good location to have water pour from it. So I ended up just scrapping water features from the passive area over here entirely. I might renovate it a little bit to try and pull some more water features in, but For now, it's fine. But so I really went kind of hog wild on it. I also swapped over to jungle trees over here. I wanted to take a look how I felt about it, and I think I like it a lot more than the palm trees. So I might pull out all the palm trees and replace them with just finally end up replacing them with jungle trees. But look how good this looks. I love this area. I had to use the old Minecrafter trick to prevent these sugar canes from growing with string on top, as as you guys can see over there, sugarcane grows exceptionally tall. So I had to figure it. So does cactus too. So I had to make sure to shorten it. So it's all still pretty tall, but I think it's fine. I might come around and shorten it at some point. I think it looks pretty good, so I'm not really that concerned about it. But it was exceptional because it was exceptionally tedious to put string on every single piece of sugarcane in this build. But it looks great. I think it ended up looking fantastic. I really loved the water feature. Like the water feature is so good. I might want to come back and renovate it a little bit by opening up some of the passageways, so there's at least a 2 block gap all the way around as much as possible, so we can use these boats to actually, boat around it, I suppose. Uh, but for now, I think it's fantastic. So I'm not really too concerned about it. At the very least, the boats are just decorative for there. So, but man, I love this whole area. Um, I so if you guys are wondering how I did water features, as you guys notice, there are very few straight lines wherever possible. Oftentimes we have turns and it looks very slow moving, and there's small islands and stuff all over the place. Uh, I like rivers don't really move in straight lines all that much, so I found that it looked as best as possible when having as few straight lines as possible. Make sure it was meandering. Like again, like over here, it wasn't really too possible to have it meander. Um, it was just kind of a small straight line because I did want them to connect as sort of like a loop. Uh, and so again, there wasn't really it wasn't possible over here to have it as a not a straight line. I did my best, but there wasn't that much room over here. But over here we had like lots of islands and stuff. This is how oxbow lakes are made, I believe. Anyway, if you guys like look up like real pictures of livers, just kind of follow that. Lots of turns, lots of like weaving in and out of this stuff. Uh, but yeah, I think it looks fantastic. And I used, we have just some stone here as some fountains, or I guess some geysers, springs, whatever you want to call them. And I think this worked out really well in terms of where the water is sourced from. As like I said, originally it was coming from the central core or the central pillar or pyramid. And I was thinking about maybe having water pour from the ziggurat over here. But I ended up not really doing that as I'm not sure how much I want to do about the ziggurat right now, and I thought maybe having it pour from a structure was a little bit weird. So instead I designed these geysers, and I think they look fucking fantastic. I think they look really great. Um, this build it was exceptional. It took me forever. It took me about 5 hours or so, 5 to 6 hours to build. Uh, and I think it was worth every one of those hours with how good it looks. I really am happy with it. This is my favorite build in any base by far. Monty Factory had a lot of really cool builds, but this looks great. This really does look fantastic, and I think that's a good thing. That doesn't make Monty Factory's base any worse. I think it was still a really good base for what it was. A very Greg Tech focused base, and I really enjoyed my Monty Factory base. But I got to do a lot of interesting things here that I didn't really have the chance to do in Monty Factory because we didn't really have the space for it, and the design philosophy of that base meant we didn't really have any room to do it like this, especially since the terrain we were in would have looked very out of place had we tried to put lots of vegetation in. I tried to do some interesting terraforming wherever possible, like in the fusion area. Unfortunately, there wasn't really a whole lot of room for that kind of stuff. So being able to like, flex my building muscles a little bit over here, as well as you know, learn new things, really try and push myself in terms of building, was really really good. And like I said, I think it's a really good thing for me to have each base I build to be my favorite base out of all of them. It just means that I'm getting better at building, which was one of the reasons why I've been pushing myself to actually build complex bases like this, specifically so I do get better. There's a reason slash excuse for me to try new things and get better at things I wasn't particularly experienced at. Like for example, this terraforming stuff. One note about these trees over here is they are exceptionally tedious to build, and I tried using the copy paste gadget, but it doesn't copy paste the leaves, even if I bind it to the applied energistics system. As I did stick uh, a wireless access point here. We don't have a wireless terminals, but you can actually bind the building gadgets to the wireless access terminals, and the building gadgets will pull from your applied energistics network. Unfortunately, the copy paste gadget will not copy paste the jungle leaves. It will paste the jungle wood, even though I have jungle leaves in the system, it won't do it. So I have to build each and every single tree by hand, and that would be exceptionally tedious. The best I could do would be to copy paste like the trunks and then have to hand build the leaves. So that's probably what I'm gonna end up doing, though I'm not exactly sure how these trees are gonna work out. I might just plant saplings and just grow the saplings and see if that looks okay. Maybe put the palm trees here instead since they're a little bit shorter. Unfortunately, like I said before, the palm leaves look kind of bad, so I'd have to replace those with jungle leaves, but I can use the exchanging gadget on that, so that would be a lot quicker. So I'll have to try some of that stuff too. The space is still a work in progress, and there's lots of things I'm still experimenting with. So, uh, yeah, but I think it's we're off to a really great start. Coming over here to the passive area, I finally got a because I set up the farms, I was able to use some thatch roofing now, as you guys have seen, and I think it looks really good. It looks the creative test build I think really hit it out of the park with these shacks. I think they look great. Over here, we still have all the chemical combiners. I don't know if I've added too many things from the last one. Um, but I added a few more ingots. We have the building blocks over here as well. I've also have an alloy area over here. We have both the alloy smelters from nuclear craft as well as the induction smelters. Uh, the induction smelters, there won't be too many of them, as most recipes that can be done in the induction smelter can also be done in the alloy furnace. And late game, we can upgrade the alloy furnaces to be way faster than the thermal series induction machines. Um, but there are still a few things like making slag, for instance. You also need the induction smelters before you can make the alloy furnaces with some stuff. And we had already had an induction smelter from the old base that I recycled, so I didn't really see a point in just not using it, as there was some stuff that I could use it in. But there will be a few more things over here. Over here, we have both manufactories and furnaces. Uh, I don't know how many things we're gonna have on manufacturing in this version. In the last NEMC run, I think it was around 20 or so, at most. So I'm not really too concerned about running out of space over here for manufactories, and I also needed some passive smelting stuff, specifically for glass and food right now. We This isn't clear glass; that'll have to be done in the smeltery on automatic, or also it can be done with a melter, so we can make a glass. Let's see, liquid glass. Let's see, clear glass. So you can make clear glass with molten glass, and you can use a melter, which would be a lot faster and easier. And also, you don't need a multi-block for this way. So I might set up a melter for that, but this requires advanced plating, which we can do. Again, it's just a draw on cadmium, which is a pain in the ass. So I'll have to set up a mob farm. And then once we have a mob farm, I'll probably have to set up like a dye area where we'll make a bunch of different dyes and then break them down for various different elements. Right now we'd have like lime dye, green dye, because that would get us like nickel, for example. Um, Nickel chloride. Like this stuff comes from cactus greens, so we'd want to make some of that stuff too. Mercury we would need for the singularity eventually, as well as what else do we use this stuff for? Um, Not really anything else, but I guess once I set a mob farm up, I won't really need Mercury for Ender Pearls, but it'll still be a good thing to do, especially since eventually we will need the singularities, and it'll just keep running, and so eventually we'll have more than enough Mercury for all that good stuff. So, mob farm is the next big thing to do, and once that's up and running, we'll be in a really good position to really start hammering out lots and lots of things. Uh, so I'm very happy the way this base is going. And I guess because this is a little bit of a shorter progress log, we can go over here and we can talk about the idea. This is where I was planning to put the mob farm, and originally I was planning to build it like a shack, and then I realized that really wasn't going to work out very well. It wouldn't have looked very good. So I am going to probably do some creative testing on how I would want to build the mob farm. I think this is probably going to be a good place to put another pyramid. And because I already have a pyramid on this side, I might actually swap which side this path is on and have the pyramid somewhere over here. In that case, I probably wouldn't do like a path down. It would just be a full turn of the wall, which would then go into a pyramid. In order to do that, though, I am going to have to start removing a lot more of the old lawn base in order to make sure I have plenty of room for the mob farm. I do want it to be fairly large as in AMC I had to rebuild it, and that was kind of annoying. So I'll make sure it's at least of a good enough size where I won't have to rebuild it at least for a little while or at all. So yeah, I'm also gonna I might put DML over here as well, though I might just use that path over there for something. I'm still not exactly sure. I might just tear it all up and then just pull it all out and then not have anything over here. But I do kind of want something over here just in order to help fill out the area since we're super close to the core on all the other sides, the other two sides. So we are going to want something that's fairly close to the central pyramid on all four sides, just so it's a little bit more symmetrical in that way. I think it would be really weird to have nothing there. Even if it's decorative work, even if I don't build like a structure that's close by, at the very least there will be decorative work there. In terms of the mob farm area, I think I'm gonna try and do like some ravines and mountains, like some stone pillars and some stone ridges, as I felt like the water features and the very like the water features and the very nature focused thing work really, really great for the farm. I think that was a great theme. And I'm definitely going to extend water features probably throughout the base as much as possible. I might even have like a single river network almost between everywhere. So that's like the idea behind my water features. So eventually we'll probably run some sort of like rivers and canyons and stuff, like some rivers into the canyons over by the mob farm. But that would be a long-term work in progress, I think. This base will always be a work in progress. That's just a natural effect of being a base in modded Minecraft is for pretty much most of the runtime, they are a constant work in progress as you expand for new things, as well as fill out more decorative work, stuff like that. So, but yeah, this is a really fantastic looking base. I'm very happy with it. Obviously, uh, we're still gonna have to. I'm gonna have to pull out all these trees, but that'll take like 5 minutes, and then I have to figure out exactly how I want to do these trees, as I think as they are right now, they're a little bit too tedious. I've started to feel that, which is why they haven't really been building them, even though I totally can. So I'm gonna have to figure out some sort of alternative that's easier to build. Uh, I know I think they look really great, but sometimes you just have to understand that building them out, like you have a really, really great build that you really like, but you realize that it's time consuming and not necessarily in an enjoyable way. Sometimes you just have to do it for a good base, and you just have to do something that's time consuming and not particularly enjoyable for the looks. So I'll either attempt to figure out something that's a little bit more economical in terms of time cost, but if I can't figure out anything that's economical in terms of time cost that I like, I will just break down and do it in a tedious fashion, I think. It wouldn't be too hard, uh, just something I'd have to, do over time. This base won't be particularly large. Well, I guess it will be much larger than it is right now. But in compared to the Monty Factory base, it will not be anywhere near that large. So it'll be this is just a shorter pack in general. But that's pretty much it, I think, for today. Or I guess this week. As I spent a lot of time on doing decorative work, which was well, I really enjoyed this time. You can't every moment of a tech run through it can't be all about uh, progress, progression, and productivity. Um, at least for me, anymore. I really want to spend lots of time on doing very nice things and very pretty things. If you're gonna spend a few hundred hours in a base, you want to make sure it's somewhere where you just enjoy being. And I really enjoy just wandering around this area, just moseying through all the rivers and stuff. So I think I'm so happy with this. It looks so good. Oh man. All right, guys. Well, that's like I said, that's pretty much it for this week. I hope you guys have had a good week. My week's been, it's been pretty good. Doom Dark Ages came out. The Murderbot TV show came out, which is also really good. Uh, the Helldivers update was pretty good as well. So, getting lots of good stuff done. Very happy with all the builds that I've made over the week. So, my week's been pretty good. So, I hope you guys have had a good week. And I hope you guys have a good upcoming week. And I will see you all again next week.